All right. This is a great section. The talents that a general must have. And then it talks about spies and ruses and stratagems of war. But here we go. Talents that a general must have. A perfect general, like Plato's Republic, is a figment of the imagination. Either would be admirable, but is not characteristic of human nature to produce beings exempt from human weakness and defects. The finest medallions have a reverse side. Dang. I like that. So, yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect leader. Yeah. Everyone has weaknesses. But then he says the finest medallions have a reverse side. And I don't know if you remember me saying this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Oftentimes, people's biggest strength is also their biggest weakness, right? So if you got a guy that's super aggressive and that's what makes him such a good for a certain job, they also can be too aggressive. Yeah. And it ends. So there's a bunch of examples like that. But the finest medallions have a reverse side. Even if you think about what your personal best quality is, like you got to watch out because it can be out of balance if you let it go too far. Now he says this, but in spite of this awareness of our imperfection, it is not less necessary to consider all the different talents that are needed by an accomplished general. These are the models that one attempts to imitate and which one would not try to approach if they were not presented to us. So he's like, hey, look, even though we can't be perfect, we should still look and see what perfect is so that we can at least try and get there. Nothing wrong with that. Here we go. It is essential that a general should dissemble while appearing to be occupied. So what he's saying is you got to detach a little bit. Working with the mind and working with the body. And here he goes into a good list right here. Ceaselessly suspicious while affecting tranquility. So you act like you're calm, but you should constantly be suspicious of what is happening. Here's a solid one. Saving of the blood of his soldiers and not squandering it except for the most important interests. Take care of your people. Informed of everything. That makes sense. Always on the lookout to deceive the enemy and careful not to be deceived himself. Makes sense. In a word, he should be more than industrious, active, and indefatigable. Not forgetting one thing to execute another. And above all, not despising those sorts of little details which pertain to great projects. So you got to be more than just like hardworking. You got to be more than active. And he goes into a little clarity around some of these. Here we go, back to the book. The dissimulation of the general consists of the important art of hiding his thoughts. Now, this is one of those things where people start to freak out a little bit because these days everyone throws around the transparency word, right? Everyone should be transparent.
Sure.
It's like, actually, no, you shouldn't be transparent all the time.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's why I talk about controlling your emotions all the time. And that's why it's so powerful. If you're getting mad at someone and you show them that you're getting mad, well, then you're giving away your hand and now they're going to get mad at you and it's just a problem. Yeah. So you need to not do that. You need to not be transparent.
Yeah.
And he goes into brilliant explanations as to why you can't just be transparent. You need to be hiding his thoughts. Okay. He should be constantly on the stage and should appear most tranquil when he is most occupied. For the whole army speculates on his looks, on his gestures, and on his mood. So when you're walking around and you're panicking, guess what? Everyone on the team is looking at you going, what's going on? Why is the boss panicking?
Yeah.
If he is seen to be more thoughtful than customary, the officers will believe he is incubating some project of consequence. If his manner is uneasy, they believe that affairs are going badly, and they often imagine worse than the truth. You gotta stay calm. You gotta put on the little mask over your little emotions. And he says these suppositions become the rumors of the army, and this army gossip is certain to pass over to the enemy's camp. It is necessary, therefore, that the personal conduct of the general should be so well reasoned that his dissimulation will be so profound that no one can ever penetrate it. If he fears that he cannot master his expression, so no one should ever know what you're thinking, unless you want him to know that, right? Unless you want to give it to him, because I say this all the time, you can't just be without emotions.
Yeah.
You can't. If you come to me and you're all mad, I just can't be like, calm down. No, I can't do that. Yeah. I need to give you some of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying never be emotional, but you better control them. They better be the emotions you want to show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he says this is funny. Talking about the general. If he fears that he cannot master his expression, either he can pretend to be ill, or he should make an excuse of some personal trouble to explain his appearance to the public. You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, that's actually, when you think about it, like a lot of us kind of do that. Like, you know, oh, I'm just tired or something like that. You know, like if a girl's crying or something like this. Oh, no, I just had something in my eye. It's kind of the same thing. You know, they're like, oh, I'm just
getting dusty in here.
Yeah, there's something else wrong with me that's understandable. You know, it's not me crying or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to bring up an excuse, but that's different. You know, when you
excuse for your emotions?
Yeah, you know when you're doing jiu-jitsu with someone and they're like, yeah, you know, I just got myself. Yeah. They're just like, yeah.
Oh, that's all you hear, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but excuse.
Yeah. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting advice. That shows you how important it is. You know, if you're willing to do, like, skip work because you don't want people to see you're freaking out, I don't recommend that.
Right.
But hey, I can't come in today, I'm sick.
Yeah.
I think the opposite actually happens.
Hungover.
Yeah, well, definitely.
That's what they'll say if they're hungover.
You know what? People in the teams, I would say people do the opposite, and they have like problems at home. And so they're like calling and saying like, hey, I can't make it today. What they're really doing is like crying because they're in a big scrap with their old lady. Mm-hmm. All right. This is brilliant right here. Above all, when he has received some bad news, he should treat it as a trifle and show the number of resources which he has to retrieve it. It's basically good. That's saying good. When you receive some bad news, oh, good, bring it. That's he's saying the exact same thing. While never despising his enemy, in the bottom of his heart, he should never speak of him except with scorn and compare carefully the advantages of our troops over the others. So he's actually saying, look, he's doing the opposite. He's like, I don't even hate my enemy, but I'll never let anyone know that I don't completely despise them.
Right.
That's pretty funny. This is good. If some detachment is unfortunate in the war, he should examine the cause. And after having determined the reason for the fault, he should instruct his officers concerning it. In this fashion, a few minor misfortunes will never discourage the troops, and they will always preserve the feeling of confidence in their ability. So when something goes wrong, you don't freak out. You just look, okay, well, let's take a look at what went wrong there, and then we'll fix it, and then it won't be a problem anymore. That's how you handle a problem when someone doesn't do well.